Hello, my name is Dwayne Blair, and welcome to the National Skill Development Association. Here's a quick fix for backward skating. When we address backward skating with our young players, one of the first things we always talk about is what their feet are doing in the ice. And it always comes back to that letter C. You may hear things like a half a heart coming out like this, or the number 7, right? It doesn't really matter, but C's have been around for generations, so I like to use it just because it's easy and everyone understands it right away when you're saying it. So if I say the letter C, what I mean by that is every time I push, I'm basically trying to make a letter C in the ice as I'm coming around. So I'm making that big push and then back out and around. And oftentimes with players, especially young players, we don't need to necessarily emphasize those C's. We want them to think of that, but we also want them to get moving backwards. So with young players, we're talking 3, 4, 5, 6. A lot of times we're just getting them to kind of move their hips a little bit and go backwards. Now we want to lose that hip movement, right, as they get better. So we want them to kind of lock their hips in and then just move their feet back and forth. Right? If they're not making perfect C's, that's fine, but just moving those feet back and forth. And an easy way to do this is have them, we call it sculling, but coming out with both feet out like this, back and forth, and then same thing going backwards. So now they're gonna push their toes out and pull their heels in. Push their toes out and pull their heels in. And little cues like that are huge. So if I'm going forward, I'm pushing my toes, I'm pushing out and I'm pulling my toes in. I'm pushing out and pulling my toes in. If I'm going backwards, I'm gonna push my toes out, pull my heels in. I'm gonna push my toes out and pull my heels in. For a lot of young players, they can understand that by thinking of pushing their toe out away from their body and then pulling their heel back into their body. The more we can get players to do it with 2 feet and get comfortable, have better balance, right? Especially when they're going backwards, then it's gonna be easier to isolate 1 foot and then have them push with 1 foot. And even if players are just going real slow, it doesn't matter, having them push with that 1 foot is very beneficial, especially down the road, because all of us have one side that's a little bit stronger than the other. As players progress with backward skating, we want to really emphasize them using 1 foot at a time. So watching that their hips aren't moving too much, making sure that they're pushing with 1 foot, the other foot's staying in that straight line. And ideally, for any player going backwards or forward, the fastest way from point A to point B is going to be straight line. So if a player's going down the ice like this, side to side backwards, they're going to be much slower than they are going in straight line. So as they get a little bit better, making sure that they're pushing with 1 foot at a time and progressing through, keeping those hips nice and square, body position in a good spot as they're going backwards.